He won the governor's race by complaining that government and unions were throwing money down a hole.
And long term, you just can't sustain that.
Walker asked them to pay a little more of their pension and health care costs, still less than private sector workers pay. But the union said no.
Somehow they were entitled to a fixed standard of living and a fixed compensation package.
The unions eventually said, okay, they'd pay more of their benefits, but Walker also wanted to rein in their power to get future benefits.
If you don't have a permanent change, they can come back 2 years from now with a new contract and jack up health care costs for the taxpayers.
What do you mean jack it up? You can say no.
Your hands are tied.
We want justice! How about you?
Tied, he says, by collective bargaining rules. So Walker moved to limit those.
If you're under a collective bargaining agreement, no matter what the financial situation of that local government or the state government is, the unions don't have to budge.
They don't have to budge because government has no real competition. Governments, unlike private businesses, don't go out of business when they overspend.
At the private sector, an employer can say, if we don't do this, we're going to move our operations to another location. And then people have to decide whether it's worth risking that. But the difference is in government, you got nowhere to go.
He wants to take away workers' rights to collectively bargain.
John Erpenbach is one of the 14 Democratic state senators who fled Wisconsin to try to stop the legislature from passing Governor Walker's bill. That won the union's adoration. Listen to what happens when we walk to where the protesters can see the senator.
The actual action of collective bargaining, the language of collective bargaining, doesn't save or spend money one way or the other. In the end, it's whatever governor's administration.
Wait, if you can collectively bargain, right, you can get more stuff. That's why they fight for it.
Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't.
The current system is rigged to create a vicious cycle. Money goes from taxpayers to government workers, to dues to the union, and then from the union to the politicians who promise to do more for the government workers. Round and round.
You Democrats give kickbacks to unions that elected you.
What kind of kickbacks? Like what?
Good pension, extra good pensions.
It's a good pension. There's no doubt about that. It's stuff they negotiated.
It's a kickback for electing you.
No, it's the stuff they've negotiated over the years with Democrat administrations and Republican administrations. The reason why public employees support me is, number one, I support what they're doing.
He supports union leaders like Malin Mitchell. Mitchell heads the firefighters union.
You elect your own bosses. You contribute to the Democrats, and then the Democrats pay you back with a good deal. They want to take that power away. I can kind of see why.
We're a nonpartisan union. We contribute to Republicans as well as Democrats.
But I'm looking at the list here, public sector unions, political donations. 92% to Democrats last year.
And that's because we contribute to members or people that are with our issues. And generally, the Democratic way are with our issues.
So that doesn't sound very nonpartisan.
Well, if the Republicans come back to the good side of town, then we'll start contributing more money to them.
Governor Walker isn't holding his breath.
Would America be better off without unions?
Certainly in the public sector. I mean, it's why Franklin...
What's the difference? Public-private.
President Roosevelt, who obviously is no slouch when it comes to Democrats and unions, said that public sector unions would be a problem for the United States.
Even FDR says they shouldn't have collective bargaining rights. Mm-hmm. But the public, when you do polls today, you're the evil guy who took away their rights.
The unions poured $4 or $5 million into TV ads and talked about rights.
There's a radical move underway in Madison to roll back the rights of our trusted public employees.
This is about our rights.
Collective bargaining rights. Taking away of union rights is not right.
People hear the word rights on almost anything, human rights, civil rights, union rights, collective bargaining rights. But people like rights. And this is really an expensive entitlement.
It's an entitlement that even stipulates inane minutia, like the size of bulletin boards.
This is what you guys got in, is the rule to put up a bulletin board. This is why governments go broke.
I can't even see what that says.
How can you run a business? How can you run anything when you got to go through rules like this to put up a bulletin board?
Can I see that? I could see where this might cripple an employer. Actually, I'm being facetious. This would not. This is a bulletin board. Let's get back to the real subject.
Like fat salary and pension deals? Does even the state senator know how fat?
Building painters in school districts get compensation of $98,000. Bus drivers make six-figure salaries.
Do they really? I think if you take a look at the overall package that public employees get, it's going to be richer than what you see in the private sector, simply because the private sector has had to cut back.
So does the public sector have to cut back? Can we afford it?
We've absolutely been cutting back.
Cutting back must mean something different for politicians. They do think they're special. Look at their surroundings. The camera is always focused on the protesters, but look up. The Wisconsin State House is insured for $200 million. The politicians who built it used 43 types of stone from 6 countries. They copied what royalty built in Europe. This is not unusual. Other state houses are grand. When you spend other people's money, you tend to spend a lot.
I mean, I look around here. This is frugal Wisconsin. This place is a palace.
That's why we don't add new things to it.
But the unions and liberals want new things like more benefits for everyone.
The question we have been asking ourselves around Wisconsin is, why do they have those health care benefits? Why do they have those retirement benefits? The question we should be asking ourselves is, why don't you? Why don't you have access to the same kind of health care choices that a public employee has?
Because if we all did, we'd be even deeper in the money hole. But there is another approach, one a few places have tried, and the result? Prosperity. That's next.